Hey everyone, so this is a new series that I'm trying out. It's experimental. I will be doing monthly tarot readings for all of the different zodiac signs. So feel free to watch your sun, moon, or rising, or all of them if you actually have the time to do that. There will be extended versions and those links will be down below. This is a collective reading, so keep that in mind when you're listening to it. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If your sun sign isn't feeling like it's resonating with you, then maybe check out your rising sign next or your moon sign. So given that it's a collective reading and it's not one-to-one, it's not tapping into one exact person. So if you do want something more specific, you're welcome to book with me, but that will also be a link down below in the description. So because this is new and experimental, this is my first set of videos this month, I'd love to know how to improve this and how to make it more valuable and what you guys really think. So please let me know down in the comments as well what resonated with you, what things you'd like to make sure that I keep so that as I'm experimenting with the format that I don't take something out that a lot of you really like. So, and also if there are things that you have perhaps seen with other readers that you have enjoyed and you want to see if I can incorporate that, please let me know. One other thing I want to mention besides all of that is that we are self-determined and not predetermined. And my belief is that the tarot is a really useful tool to have messages or omens come through, which is why I say take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But we're all ultimately making our own decisions. So if you get a message in tarot that has you consider maybe shifting course, or it affirms something for you, great, fantastic. Just know that we all are the masters and creators of our own experience. So take with it what resonates and works, but really give it some thought. And, you know, I'm not a person who advocates for letting any one piece of these types of technologies dictate completely what we do without giving it its proper thought and really sitting with our emotions and deciding for ourselves what actually works best. So just really want to put that out there to make sure that you're considering that as you listen. Other than that, if you want to make sure that you don't miss any of these going forward, please like and subscribe. It helps me to continue to know that this is something that you want to see. I'm also considering doing full moon and new moon readings. I might even start to do bi-weekly depending on what people want. So again, your feedback is what really lets me know how to structure these going forward. So here's to the first month of trying these out, and I look forward to seeing more of you guys. Thanks. Hello, my equanimity focused beings. So for this reading, this is for Libra, sun, moon, or rising sign for February of 2022. Let's get into it. I am really curious about what's going on with you guys this month. So let's check it out. We're going to do general reading with challenges and spiritual advice. We will also look at career and we will look at relationships because I feel like that's what comes up the most. So let's check it out. What's actually happening for Libras in the realms of like the overall theme for this month for you guys. The wheel is turning. Oh my goodness. I hope that you guys can actually see this. So I think that, let me adjust my lighting really quickly and see if that assists with things. Give me one moment. Bear with me. All right, hopefully that is helpful in being able to see the details. So please let me know in the comments below whether this is actually visible well enough for you. I will be adjusting my my reading setup as time goes forward, but hey, first pancake, it's not always going to be perfect. So let's take a look at what are the challenges overall that are coming up for Libras in the month of February. Okay. And what is coming up as a spiritual advice. Here we go. Let's actually make this a little bit more center here. So we're going to pull all cards and then we're going to go into each of them individually. What is coming up for Libras overall, the theme for work, career, finances, And what do we have as the challenge? A lot of fire happening here. And what is happening for the spiritual advice? What spiritual advice do we have for Libras, for career and finances? That flew out. Okay. And then we're going to take a look at love. Ooh, love. Let's look at what the theme overall for Libra is. That shot out really quickly. Queen of Cups. And these are shooting out. They're not just like, some of the other ones have been like butter, but these are shooting out. All right. And what is the spiritual advice for Libras? Okay. So we are going to get into these one at a time. So let's focus our attention on the general reading first. So I've lost a little bit of my light here where I live. I live in a canyon. So hopefully the lighting is all right. Please let me know if the lighting works for you. And yeah, so we're going to get into it. All right, so what we're looking at is the Wheel of Fortune is the overall theme and feeling for everything regarding Libra in February 2022. And this is about the wheel is turning. You cannot stop the wheel of fate. This is things shift. Things are always moving and shifting. The only constant in this world is change, and that is happening. The only time that it's painful, which we're going to get into because it's tied into your challenge here, is the only time that it's actually painful is when we resist the change, when we resist the things that need to happen, when things are moving in a direction and we need to allow them to move. We never know what's going to happen. Sometimes business partnerships or friendships or lover relationships or places that we live or any circumstances that we have change because the constant is change. And when we are kicking and screaming along the way, it is a lot more painful than if we actually don't resist that. So allow the wheel to shift. This is not to say that you never fight for what you want, that you don't just let your apartment go or your mortgage go. You know, you don't just let things go and say, oh, well, the wheel's turning, so no matter what, it doesn't matter. This is more just like inviting the energy of allowing and watching how you can pivot intelligently in your experience. Okay, so the challenge actually here is that I see what's happening is that there is a resistance. Libra, stop resisting. Stop trying to stop the wheel. You cannot hold the wheel forever. You cannot stop the wheel. Sometimes the wheel turns and things look like they end, and in the end, on the other side, sometimes they come back together in a better way. You have no way of being able to foresee how it's going to all turn out. But what happens is there's a hell of a lot of struggle when you resist cutting out the shit that no longer works, cutting the cords that no longer work, the relationships, the friendships, the partnerships, the businesses, the projects, the whatever it is, the belief structures. Oh, that's coming through strong. The belief structures, the limiting beliefs, the old paradigms within which you have been living. Cut the shit. If it's no longer serving you, if your old ideas, your old beliefs, and your old patterns are not allowing you to move into the next higher version of yourself as the wheel turns, like allowing you to move into the next version, let that shit go. Bury it. It's not serving you anymore, so just let it the fuck go. It's not here for you. Your spiritual advice is actually the King of Coins in reverse. So the kings in a tarot deck have to do with mastery, right? Mastery over the particular element that they happen to be dealing with. And when we're looking at coins, or in some suits, it would be pentacles. When we're looking at pentacles, this is about the tangible world. This is about our finances, our immediate environment, the things that we can see and taste and touch in our world. So pay attention to that particular aspect. And what this is saying is like, hey, you're not you're not really the master of this yet, and pretending like you're actually in this space is not really working for you. You don't need to be pretending like you've actually mastered certain areas of your life when you're not quite there yet. That doesn't actually serve you. What serves you is actually be present to where you really are. So we're gonna pull, I am really curious about this clarification card here. So we have the 8 of Pentacles. I mean, this is also talking about a level of mastery. This is about generations of work. This is about time put in and time mastering your craft and really putting the time and attention into what you've been building. What are you actually paying attention to? What have you been building? Don't just give up on this before you're about to have the turn of the wheel, before you're about to see the next iteration of this. I feel like there's something else that's coming through. Yeah, so the princess is like the Page of Cups, but I want one more. Oh no, actually I'm feeling it from a different deck. All right, here we have it. Yeah, so look, here's the thing. There's an attitude of like having this newness that there is an experience of. So let's move these up so that we can actually like have the space for this right here. So when we're actually looking at the Fool is usually moving on a new journey, a new path, a new adventure, open to what happens next, right? Everything is clean slate and brand new. The Page of Cups is kind of innocent in a way, very sweet and very in their emotions. That is there's a sweetness to the way that they see the world. There's an innocence to the way that they deal with emotions. But what we have here are these 2 building blocks of mastery that are occurring in the space. So when we're looking at the overall, we're looking at like, yes, there is the mastery that is present, what you've been building towards, but there's, I think, a reintroduction of some fresh energy, some new perspective, some remembering what it's like to be in this kind of idealistic place, right? Idealistically moving into something new at the same time. So how can you reframe the things that you have actually been building anew? How can you introduce curiosity and newness into what you've actually been building and creating as you're moving towards mastery? That's what I'm getting at the moment. I feel like there's going to be something else that comes through, but I feel like that's going to come through as we move through your reading. So let's take a look at your actual career, finance, life. So a lot of fire we see going on, a lot of fire, and then we move into a lot of air here. And it is the 7 of Swords in the spiritual position, which is really odd. So I'm going to tell you right now, we're definitely going to pull another card for this, but let's take a look at the overall theme for your finances here. And what we have is the Page of Wands. Now, pages, much like the one that we just saw, pages tend to be more kind of like having a sense of innocence. They are newer on the path. They haven't quite mastered the energies. They've gone through the Ace through the 10 of Wands. They've gone through all the trials and tribulations, and they're at a different place. This is an elevated space, but still very new in their like accepted and new responsibilities. Like it's like being promoted to a page, and suddenly you have to realize, oh no, I have all of these new responsibilities and I have to learn how to act within this particular area of my life, right? And this has to do with creativity and passion and forward movement. So there's a very youthful energy about this particular card. It is really youthful. It's very idealistic and in some ways a little bit naive and innocent. And when you apply that kind of innocence to the element of fire, and to the element of passion and creation in the realm of like your finances and your career, you can see that there might be like a little bit of disillusionment. So one of the things to notice here is that there is that kind of energy as an overall theme. The challenge is actually the Queen of Wands, which is really different because the Queen of Wands is all about like this warmth and love and passion and connection. In fact, the Queen of Wands happens to be one of my most absolute favorite cards personally. The Queen of Wands is really powerful. She has a lot of explosive and creative energy, right? And she's somebody who is like, she attracts a lot of admirers and has a lot of sensual energy and a lot of self-confidence, and is sometimes uncompromising in the ways that she moves forward in life. So these are things to just take note of. Now, because it's in the challenge position, you have to look out for the shadow aspect. Think about the shadow side of a character like this, right? In the challenge position, you need to watch out for your emotions being on fire in a way that is blinding you from the situations in front of you, where you become paranoid and hurtful in the way that you talk to others, where you are manipulating other people in a really powerful way because of the kind of influence that you have, and using your emotions kind of like blackmail or like a tool, right? The shadow aspect of the Queen of Wands is somebody who wants people to be dependent on them. So there's some drama in that, but like essentially it's like it's a little bit dangerous emotionally. Like tread lightly. It's not the most ideal situation. So if you have any tendencies, if you act in those ways, you want to make sure that you are being aware and careful of not trying to get ahead through these means, and also making sure that you're not allowing any kind of paranoia to take over. Like, be mindful of your emotions. You know, an unchecked fiery person, an unchecked fiery emotion can take over and burn other people. It can be very hurtful. Now, your spiritual advice, which is one that I think is really strange as well. Like, these are definitely cards that I would not necessarily see in these particular positions, right? But the Seven of Swords is typically a very shisty kind of card, one that kind of points the picture at looking where people are being secretive or shady or hiding things, and being duplicitous, essentially, right? So your spiritual advice, when it shows up in this particular position, I can only see two places where really right now what feels like aligned for this in terms of your particular like career path, which is like, how are you actually lying to yourself? What are you lying to yourself about with regard to your career path? What are you not being honest with yourself about? What are you hiding from yourself? What are you being duplicitous with yourself about? You need to get really, really honest with yourself, because the sword suit is all about integrity with the world, with yourself, but it's also about communication and piercing through the fog, piercing through the shit that is the muddy waters of the muddy mire, right? Now, this particular card is like showing somebody who's like kind of being duplicitous. So how are you being that way with yourself? Or the other way that I would read this is, if you have had the concern about particular partners that you have been working with, this might be an affirmation to look a little bit more deeply into it. Now, I don't want to encourage this given the fact that we just had the Queen of Wands and all the challenges that I said about paranoia with that in that particular position. So I just want to be really clear, be honest with yourself, which one of those really resonates the most. All right, now we're going to take a look at the last part, which is your love reading. Okay. So let's get into your love reading. I'm just going to take a sip of water. All right, and we have the Queen of Cups. Let's just talk about how fantastic it is to have the Queen of Cups showing up as your major overall theme for your love life. Okay? Like this is actually really beautiful. So this can be, I mean, you know, some people read the court cards as being actual people. So it could actually be somebody that you perceive as being the Queen of Cups and all of the qualities that come along with her, which we're about to discuss, right? And it also could just be the energy of the Queen of Cups. Cups are about emotion, and that is the energy that it works with, right? Is emotion, primarily flow, water, right? Intuitiveness. And so like the Queen of Cups is someone who is about love and sensuality, somebody who's fair and is maybe a little bit mysterious, someone who is a good lover, a sensual partner, maybe sometimes too easily put up on a pedestal by some people, maybe including yourself, but she has a deep connection to like what is tangible in this world, like the earthly pleasures, and someone who is definitely easily your best friend, somebody who can definitely be a good partner if it's a physical person, it's an actual person, someone who's a bit psychic in an understated way and shows emotional depth and balance, right? This is someone who's like, you know, you consider them like a ray of sunshine. That's who this person is. So if it is an actual person in the month of February, this is a person who's like dominating your consciousness. And if not, then this is an ideal. This is an ideal for you that you might be looking for. So Libra, if this is not a particular person, then this might be actually somebody that you want to fill that space, that you want to embody these particular characteristics. Okay, so and then we look at the challenge, and the challenge is the lovers, and you think, oh, how could the lovers be the challenge? And the thing about this is that the lovers are really, the card specifically is not about lovers per se. It's actually about a higher realm, kind of like we see in the Judgment card, a higher calling into higher vibrational aspects of the masculine and feminine. Whatever, if you are actually looking at, if you are looking at a specific person or persons for a relationship, if you are looking at being single and what your ideal next person is, this is part of your challenge, is actually reconciling what is the higher version, what is the higher aspect of, what is the higher version, the higher vibrational frequency of the masculine and feminine. What does that look like? How is that embodied? The challenge is that you don't actually keep to this. You're not actually keeping to this. And not just how you're not keeping to this in terms of what you expect out of your partner. That's not it. This means you too. So Libra, how are you not actually stepping into the higher version of, like, you want someone to meet you at a certain level of relationship? Well, you need to fucking step up and be the person who's going to be someone who can meet that person in that relationship. Truth, facts, facts. And that goes for everybody in life, but definitely this was coming up for February. So let's take a look at your spiritual advice. Now we have another cups suit. So we have cups, like so much water that's actually happening here, water and air actually. So what we have here is the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups has a lot to do with like nostalgia, remembering like the good times when we were young and things were beautiful, or like how we wanted things to be. Playground actually comes to mind. So this is about actually remembering those things that you want to cultivate and how you can bring those into the experiences that you want to have with lovers, dating, whatever it is, right? So this is something to pay attention to. Go back and remember like how it is that you actually want to feel. Are you providing that for that person? Are they providing it for you? If you don't have somebody in particular in mind, or if you're single, whatever it is, then just consider like, how can you take this forward with you? How can you make this a part of your non-negotiables list, right? So when we're considering what we really want, there's like our list of what would be really nice to have, our desires, but then there's also the non-negotiables, and there is like, you know, how we perceive like what we actually need to have in a relationship. Need to have, not really want, but need to have. And so how can you take inspiration from this kind of feeling? Like, look at this particular card. Let's see if I can get it in the right. Take inspiration from this particular feeling. Think back in your memories. Where do you have a feeling that is like this? How can you take this golden, beautiful, reminiscent energy and bring it into the world of what you want to feel emotionally with your particular partner? Okay. All right. Now we are going to pull masculine and feminine archetypes, God and goddess energy for Libras in February 2020. And whether you are somebody who actually believes in gods and goddesses or not, this is not about that. So just know that you don't have to be a believer of anything in particular. The way that you can look at this is a representation of divine masculine and feminine. You can look at it as a representation of certain qualities and attributes that are strengths to carry you through into this next month, so that you can, oh, that one popped out, so that you can embody these qualities. So we're also going to take a look at what the shadow aspects are. An overused term, for sure, to be sure, it really is. But what we're really looking at here is what your blind spots are. What is tripping you up? What is holding you back? What keeps you from actually moving forward? So for Libra, we're also going to look at your spiritual advice in a deeper way. What are you being invited into? All right. And then what is the journey overall that you guys are going through? Where are you at on the map of life? If we can just like, sometimes isn't it helpful to just say, where am I at? What is the point of this particular point in the adventure or the experience? Right? Okay. And then we are going to pull one rune, because I feel like they're very instructive. So we're going to get into that. These cards we are going to go into in your extended reading. So the link will be down below for how you can access this on Patreon. Please do remember to let me know, give me feedback kindly, please, about what resonated, what you would like for me to keep as I continue to experiment with the format, what you would like to see more of, anything you would like me to try and incorporate in future readings. So March is a little bit a ways away, so I'll probably start filming pretty soon. So please do let me know so that I have an idea of how to continue to improve these so that they feel really valuable and potent for you. So whether you join me over on Patreon for the extended version or not, thank you for being here. Thank you for your feedback. Please hit the like if it resonated with you in some way, or subscribe so that you don't miss any of the upcoming possible other weekly or moon related readings coming up in the future. So thank you for your time. Have a good month.